think we're back live. Alright, cool. If the nobody that's watching is interested, this is Sunless Skies. This is a gothic horror set in quote unquote space, which it's more like it's just set kind of just up in the sky above planets and also inside planets. It's kind of hard to explain, it's much better just to see. I played this a bit, but uh, I never got super duper far in. So I figured this would be a good game just to kind of start off with since it's kind of slower and I don't have to worry about my own performance besides someone telling me I don't play this game right, which they're probably right. Our expedition to the Main of the Dead has been eventful. The Orphean is damaged and grievous need repairs and supplies. We are returning in haste to the Reach, where I hope to make port at New Winchester. May God be with us, for 1,000 death waits in the sky. I could probably stand and turn the game up a little bit. Probably about there. And this is our spaceship. And because everything is like 1950s Victorian era gothic kind of steampunk, it's also a ship. It's also a train. We return to the Reach, an untamed sunless span of the heavens, London's new frontier, a celestial garden run wild. And also, like spaceships, you get just neat little dodge mechanics, which can help with combat. Your journey from the Blue Kingdom was tumultuous, your locomotive is damaged, and Captain Whitlock badly wounded. As first officer, the crew looks to you. The nearest station is New Winchester. Can you get the Orphean there safely? Oh, they totally do just have a fucking... I didn't know they had a auto cruise. And so the point of the game is you go around space, you kind of do like... You do intelligence gathering almost for London. And so you will go around to different ports collecting their stories. You will go around exploring to find different completely hazardous things that you should have left alone. And it's just overall a very enjoyable, terrifying experience. A wreck drifts here, less fortunate even than you. We should scavenge here for supplies, a crewman suggests. Scavenge her for supplies. And so a lot of this game, a lot of the grander ideas in this game take place in a text adventure format, where you will make decisions and you have chances based on your skills that we'll get to later. The wreck hangs in the sky, pocketed with recent gunfire. You and the boarding party don your sky suits, garments of waxed canvas, lined with felt to protect against the cold of the sky. Two of the crew are whispering as they dress. What business does Captain Whitlock have in the Blue Kingdom anyway? Why the devil did we trespass on the districts of the dead? You silence him. Now's not the time. And so, since this is the tutorial, we really only have one path to go. You jump and your stomach lurches with vertigo as the stars blaze above you and below. The air of the heavens is thin and torn by unpredictable winds. Then your boots hit the running board of the Ozymandias, and your leather-gloved hands fumble for a hold. If I'm not mistaken, the Ozymandias was the name of the ship from 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I think that was it. Don't quote me on that, I'm probably wrong. One of your companions throws you a line and you lash the two engines together. Only then do the rest of your boarding party follow you. One of them forces them to open an exterior hatch, and you clamber inside. Interior is cold, unlit, and whistles with wind. Your party lamps spread buttery light over the narrow, paneled passages. You make your way towards the hold, stepping over bodies crumpled in the corridor. Unfortunately, your way is blocked. A bulkhead has been mangled inwardly by a well-aimed barrage. And so, throughout the game, you will get these small skill tests. And your stats, which is like iron, bells, hearts, and stuff like that, and mirrors, give you a percentage chance of success. And also, certain choices will have different effects on either this storyline, the greatest storyline overall of London versus kind of like her rebels, or just even smaller stories. As you strain against the stubborn steel, you remember an event from a year ago. A boiler explosion had trapped an engineer under a tangle of plating and pipework. The captain was first in the scene. You were second. Together you managed to pry the wreckage upwards enough for you to crawl beneath it, while the captain braced the bar across her back. By all means, take your time, she grunted, as you dragged the engineer out. Back in the present, the twisted bulkhead yields. Your companions clear the exposed rubble away. The way is clear. Your companions work quickly. The Ozymandias' hull has begun to creak. Your actions on board may have compromised its integrity. And so, there are 4 resources? 5? 6 technically. 6 resources you really have to manage, and they are over here. They are your fuel, which this meter is 1 barrel of fuel. Your supplies, which is food and stuff. And this is 1 crate of supplies, and then it will refill, and this number will tick down by 1. Your ship's health, the number of crew you have on board, which are expendable. They don't matter. You know, it's just, you know, they came along for the ride. We all know what happens in the sky. People die. If they die, you know, as long as too many of them don't die, we're all good. And then your terror. And terror is a very interesting concept because it is basically how afraid all of your crew are. And there's no way to make it go down besides taking like small shore leaves. And every time this big bar fills up, you get another notch down here. And so the big bar is just it's a progression of how many notches you have. And each notch comes with drawbacks, for example, like nightmares, crew mutiny, cannibalistic sleepwalkers, kind of stuff like that. And so right here it's giving us a gun, which will be very useful because no, sleepwalkers, yeah. Ah. So, I mean, supplies run out, people need to eat. What's the only thing within reach is what some people would call long pork. So we grab both of these, and then the tutorial gives you, yeah, it can be pretty bad. I mean, we could also just like sacrifice them to see if the old gods would give us anything. And so the tutorial will give us a chance to have a much more realistic choice where we get a much lower chance of succeeding, which is hearts and mirrors, which are the other 2 stats besides iron and forget the other one. And a lot of time people don't survive out here. Space is dangerous, would you believe? And so at any time you can press F to send out your scout bat, and he'll fly around and find stuff for you, and it will mark it on your map. But the thing is, it doesn't reveal the area around what it marked. So sometimes you can throw it out, it'll mark something like down here, but to get there you have to go like all the way around this meandering path. So it's nice just to kind of see a general direction of where you're going. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge of curios from all across the sky. Jesus. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover his skin like a monstrous brand. It's steampunk. What do you want? There are bad things in the night. There are bad things in the sky. The previous game, Sunless Sea, there are bad things in the ocean. But the ocean was, like, underground, so it was even worse. This isn't even, like, as bad as it gets. Captain Whitlock lies in bed. Black marks cover her skin like a monstrous brand. When she coughs, coils of acrid smoke pour from her lungs. Her mouth is blistered from the blue fires that dance on her tongue. Her hand grips your arm, her skin hot as a kettle. Make arrangements. The Orphean will be yours. Her voice is just a rasp of burned meat breath. But promise. She breaks off to scream a word in a language that was not meant for human mouths. When she resumes speaking English, she is weaker. Her request a little more than a gasp. Promise me at least one last service. Promise. I think we should at least hear the dying woman out. She sinks back relieved. All in my will, she gasps. Be it better. She breaks off as the sigils burned into her bones flare, glowing cherry red through her flesh and skin. Better captain than I. The last effort exhausts her. She sinks back into the scorched pillows and a twisting, frenetic fever. The walls of the captain's cabin are lined with a hodgepodge. Okay, this is just... So a lot of time when you do this stuff, it'll take you back to, like, the very first command prompt almost. And it'll just mean you're kind of done. And this is where they teach you a little bit of the combat, is just clearing debris. This guy, though, he's an asshole. And so ship combat is a... Jesus, there's more of them. It's all about taking your shots and dodging when they try to shoot back. See, but if I show the crew how nightmarish the train is, they won't want to come on, and I need more people to eat. I mean, need more people to pilot my ship. And so, you will see these contextual prompts a lot too. Which, for example, if my ship had actually taken damage, if I wasn't such a god at dodging, we could strip it and repair the hull a little bit. But for now, we'll just search the ships, grab it for whatever it's got, and your boarding party returns with wallets, watches, cufflinks, lockets, keepsakes, and we store them in a safe to be pawned if you make it back to port. And so sovereigns, it's gold, it's coins, it's money. And this is your heat gauge for in combat. People don't come back. I mean, imagine being like an old sailor and, you know, you go out to sea. Sometimes you just wouldn't come back. You know, ship might get capsized. Ocean monsters. The crew might mutiny and hang you. That if is very strong because it is you're like the sailors of old. You're exploring basically unclaimed wildernesses, trying to find supplies and gold and riches, stuff to pawn back at port. Like, I'm sure back in, like, the 50s, like, where this game is, like, loosely based off of, if you went out and found, like, a shrunken head, people would probably genuinely believe there was some sort of, like, crazy mysticism about that thing. Like, you'd probably pawn it for a high price if you didn't want to keep it in your estate, you know? And this is New Winchester. If a Kraken attacked a ship and is holding an automatic gun in every tentacle. That'd be pretty terrifying. Aren't you supposed to be cooking? You coast into the bustle, the din, the soot and steam of Wolseley Station. It is clogged with other engines, scrappy mining locomotives from Lustrum Way, weathered explorers gleaming with frost, sleek company vessels with bright brass fittings. No sooner have you pulled into the station than a brusque station master bustles over. I haven't seen brusque in forever. He requests to come aboard. I must speak with your captain, he insists, brandishing a ledger. The usual formalities. Ah, she's kind of dead, dude. The crew exchange bleak, wordless looks. The Orpheum itself feels suddenly more empty. The station. I mean, we did lose like 2 people that time I sent them to go find more fuel. The station master looks confused. You inform him that unfortunately, Captain Whitlock just passed. She didn't die horrifically like she actually did. She passed away. Ah, he says neutrally. Sorry to hear that. Very sad, very sad. He waits for what he considers an appropriate minute and a half before continuing. Alas, even the tragedy of even amidst tragedy, the cogs of bureaucracy must turn. If Captain Whitlock is deceased, the station authority require their answers from the first officer. He dons a set of spectacles and locates his pin. It will be relatively painless. Name, background, purpose of visit, etc. Shall we begin? Don't ask where the body is, nobody knows. See, the thing is, her body was, like, on fire. Like, she had, like, runes embedded in her bones that were glowing white hot. I'm sure there's not a body left. Like, I'm sure it all turned to ash. And we're in character customization. And so these are your backgrounds. Which is, like, each background pertains to certain amounts of stats. Exactly. It's a pre-cooked meal. It's an MRE. We'll be a Zailer. And a Zailer is someone who sailed the Untersee, which is a underground ocean that exists on Earth in this universe. And it's where the last game, Sunless took place. And also, technically, the browser game this is all based off, called Fallen London. It's a really interesting universe. And we explored. And what are we looking for? So these are your win conditions. These are what your captain is setting out to seek. Wealth, fame, and the truth. And the truth, money, always. That's actually fairly close to my actual hairstyle. Hey, listen, even if you have no eyes, it doesn't mean you can't see. God, that's a schnoz right there. Look at that thing. I've seen people with like absolute just fucking schnozzes on them. But again, this person is technically British. as painful as it is to say. So, they are unfortunately probably very ugly under this silhouette. And we are Officer Lucky. Not Lucky. Lucky. So since we are a Z captain, we start out naturally with a bit higher iron. Our affiliation gave us higher heart standing, and then our mirrors and whatever this one is remain basically at baseline. And these stats will matter a lot, especially for certain checks that you'll have to do out in the wilderness. 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Supplies, yeah. This is just telling us that it might be a good idea to buy more stuff. Which, I mean, our cargo hold is half full already. So I might buy, like, 2 more barrels of fuel. And then we'll have 8, so we'll have 4 cargo spaces left. You want to keep at least a couple cargo spaces empty because you might find shit out there. I already did box out an enemy train. Don't you remember those Reach Marauders that tried to kill me? 3 weeks have passed. This morning, Captain Whitlock received a simple memorial service. Her body was consigned to a necrophilus train bound for the Serene Mausoleum. I guess there was a body left. I'm not sure how much of it was left, but there was a body. Naiset, with a handful of her relatives and the threadbare offices of her solicitors, a methodical notary is reading the will. The captain was wealthy once, but squandered her capital on mysterious expenses before her expedition to the Blue Kingdom. The captain's relatives, from whom she was mostly estranged, are clearly wondering why you're here. On a final... Oh my god. Codicil, the notary announces, Captain Whitlock confirmed that possession of the Orpheon was to pass to its first officer. He peers at you with dry, gray eyes. This includes a certain black box contained in the Orpheon's hold. Captain Whitlock's final request was that, at a time of your choosing, you transport said box to an address in London, and he hands you an address card, and deposit it there. You are not to look inside. She gave no explanation. And that's it. Well, you see, I don't think it's going to do very much if I ramming speed someone in space, unless I hit them against a wall. And also, that'll damage your own ship. So yeah, we're captain now. And at this point, we are free. The only thing Captain Whitlock asked was that we deliver a black box to London. And so this is New Winchester, which includes a bazaar, engineering stuff, market, and the engine yard, and also stories. And stories are the main driving force of the game. Jump out of the train, engage in a fistfight with the train. I think I'd lose. Usually people don't win fights with, 18-ton pieces of steel. And so these people that you see, that you can recruit from certain stations, are, they're like staff. They're not these people. They're better. You're right. And so when you hire them, they will actually increase your stats by a certain amount. And when you do their story, it will also increase those stats even further. First officer you recruit for each role will automatically be appointed. To change officers, open the officers panel while in port. So this dude was a test driver, crashed the engine he was supposed to be test driving, and is like, I think I'm ready to settle down a bit. And we hired him for $20. Personally, I recently parted ways with the Windward Company. They explained, personally, I think a crash a week isn't so bad. They disagreed. Oh well, live and learn. Let's see, hire on crew. Alright. You want to keep this at least relatively high, in case someone needs to be eaten. Excuse me, Captain. A woman push. Oh, excuse me, Captain. A woman pushes through the crowds towards you. She is short and square-shouldered, in a neck-black suit and polished shoes. She shows you the case of her pocket watch. It is embossed with the crown and hourglass of London's horological office, the body responsible for ensuring that time is consistent across the empire. I'm hoping to book passage to Port Prosper, she says, slipping the watch away. I can, of course, pay. Pay does sound promising. Thank you. The locomotive I was on broke down following a boiler rupture. The chief engineer's fault, I suspect. I don't think so. I suspect a gentleman fonder of brandy than of diligence. Here, an initial sum to seal our bargain. So, Prosper lies northwest of New Winchester. Okay. Note that there is such thing as north, south, east, or indeed west out here. Instead, London cartographers picked 4 of the brighter and more reliable stars visible from Empress's new palace and named them north, east, south, and west Londoners value familiarity. So, out here in space, there is no north, east, southwest, up, or down. It's all space. So, the fucking people of London were just like, yeah, that star's north, that star's east, that star's south, and that star's west, and it's good enough. Alright. Let's grab a few more barrels of fuel. And I think, let's go! So, we're supposed to be heading northwest to Port Prosper. And I've already forgotten how to send out the bat. I think this is also Winchester Station. Blue Kingdom Transit. Ah, Victory Hall. Right. This is basically... This is a Londoner loyalist place. It's right next to New Winchester, so it makes sense. Yeah, the company house is right next to it. How did I already forget how to throw the bat out? Options, controls, engage scout. Okay. Unfortunately, this game does have still, like, kind of run, So these are the rebels. They fight for not London, and they also kind of suck at driving. So we're supposed to be heading like this-ish direction. So I might... Actually, I'm going to continue this way. This game is also very beautiful. Oh, hold on. There's one control I need to know. Where is it at? There it is. You can honk the train horn. A distant nebula shines on this place. It is light as its light as mellow as melted butter. Oh, Scout found something. There's a port right there. Let's go see what it is. Ruins claw the sky, the work of giants. Well, don't eat donuts over your sweats. Port Avon. Ooh, a lot of pop-ups. I actually remember this place. This is kind of like... Imagine like a golf club, but it's full of weirdos. Oh, well send me some. Okay, so this is just telling us your terror goes down every time you find a port, and tells you about leveling up. I guess that's technically fair. An oily, black-haired girl waves your locomotive into position. Welcome to Port Avon, she calls as you disembark. A rich knot of scents greets you. Leaves and wood smoke, enriched by an infrequent but pungent intrusion of goat. Okay, I was wrong. This is not the golf club. This is like... It's like a village. It's just like a little village out here. And so... when you go somewhere new, they are welcome friendly. You know, it's a new captain. You want them to hopefully return with supplies, and so they give you they give you 3 welcome, and as you do stuff, that welcome will either increase or go down. And so when you go somewhere new, you will write a port report, and basically it's your captain sitting down, writing down everything he sees, like, you know, what's going on here, how the locals act, and stuff like that. And if you take that back to New Winchester, they will pay you for it. Port Avon spills prettily across sections of colossal drifting ruins. Its orchards bask in the evening gold light of a distant nebula. Were it not for talk of smugglers and sky beasts, you could easily confuse this place for a village on the world you left behind. It's quite peaceful here, apart from some fuss over a newspaper delivery. The villagers frown and change the subject when you ask about it. And so right now, we don't have anything to do here, really. Because, we need basically story pieces. And what story pieces are is, like, you went somewhere, you heard some gossip, and you can share it around for more gossip. and it's slowly building up this like little network of secrets, and they can be used for multiple things. Let's level up our captain. You rove the mournful, merciless waters of the Untersee, which is what the gigantic ocean underground was called. You remember bats winging across the still black sea, the distant lights of London calling you home, salty prayers offered to heedless gods. It was a hard life, and often a short one, but you made your mark. What were you known for? And so this is a little bit of your backstory, and when you take a facet, this is you leveling up by way of either like your past or something that's happened to you recently. And so you get choices of how your past worked. And they will usually give you stats of some kind. I think we're gonna take worst things happen at Z. The sea does not forgive. It did not forgive you. Also, you can gain certain things when you take some of these. Uh, Sometimes it's relationships. You will have prior relationships with certain people that you can kind of leverage with them. For this one, you can gain 5 hearts, 3 mirrors, and 4 otherworldly artifacts, or 5 hearts, 3 iron, and 1 moment of inspiration. I think we're gonna take. The sea does not forgive. It did not forgive you. The Untersee demands a price from all who sail her. There's a lot of Z's down there. I think it's supposed to be like phonetically typing out an accent. Like, people are like, oh, yeah, the Untersee were sailors. What did they demand from you? A year of your life? You were lost overboard, but the drownies bore you to their city beneath the waves to cavort in delight. After a year and a day, you woke on the mud banks of London and wept. Or, your home. You returned from a voyage to find your home occupied by strangers. You knew their names and their faces, but the place they once held in your heart had been filled by the sea. Drownies are like, imagine Atlantis, but it's full of corpses that have drowned at sea and then came back to life. The sea took our home. We went out to sea, came back, but we weren't the same. Recruit a repentant devil. He is looking for passage. He claims to be useful. He doesn't ask where you're headed. He's repentant. There can be no harm. He has very little luggage. A single satchel of books and a folded greatcoat appear to be his only personal artifacts. His manner is calm, almost pedantic, as he negotiates his duties and his pay. But you have a sense that he urgently wants to be out of Port Avalon. Or Avon. Oh, he was 100 gold! I should have checked how much he was. I guess let's get out of here. And so at any time you can use these tabs to like check your cargo, check what you have equipped, uh, check your possessions. So these are just like stuff you have. Your port reports, the black box, and a moment of inspiration. It is good to love many things, for For therein lies the true strength of whosoever loves much performs much, and can accomplish much, and what is done in love is well done. Your newly acquired resplendent devil is standing almost unrepentantly over the body in the hallway. You don't recognize him. One of your crew? But the deceased is no one you know, a stranger on your locomotive. Peculiar luggage you brought on board, says one of the crew when some others have gathered. Wouldn't have thought it would fit in your little bag. First, clean up. It won't do to have the body in the hall. Then, your resplendent, repentant devil can explain himself. He's still got the blood on his cuffs. And so this starts his storyline. He looks younger than most devils, but is significantly older. His gaze is blank and yellow, a wall against speculation. He grooms his sideburns artfully, and knows how to be tactful with less seasoned members of the crew. And so if we had some of this stuff, if we had a caged chorister bee, or a port report of Catechus, we could ask him about these. But right now we only have two options. Ask him about who the corpse was, and my soul. I think we'll ask him about our soul. It's not worth much in its present condition. Too flawed. I could cure you of all that, if I had time, if I cared, and if it were not just as easy to take any of a dozen other innocent souls in a better state of repair. If you want it improved, you might, I suppose, try your luck at Carillion. And then we'll ask him about who he was he killed. He was a stowaway, explains the devil indifferently. He's been stalking me for more than a month. I thought I lost him when I came aboard, and then he turned up in my quarters. From the body he has lifted a clinking bag of souls. Perhaps he was sent to bribe me rather than kill me. He tilts his head to consider the soul collection. Apparently he thinks I'm a cheap hire, so... The devil's gaze reverts to you. I regret to say, this is probably not the last time this happens. I may be destined to attract negative attention. And so as we progress side stories, we also get experience. He laughs when approached. Oh dear, a little obvious perhaps. His gaze is amused but flickers with intensity. I have an idea that might be beneficial for us both. I'd like to improve the lives of the workers at the home office on the Avid Horizon, if you don't mind permitting me a little shore leave. The devil will generate new prospects at the Avid Horizon and place on secondment there. Okay. So basically, we can send him to a certain port, and he will generate new opportunities for us. Let's keep trying to... Oh. The fastidious inspector approaches you in the gallery. Captain, good day. I noticed your ship's clock has stopped. Perhaps you'd permit me to repair it? She has a little case of tools and a hopeful expression. Yeah, well, I'll let her fix the clock. She gives you a grateful flicker of a smile and sets to work. Soon she has the back off the clock and has spread tiny cogs across the galley table. Obscure horological tools gleam brassily among them. Everything has a place. I appreciate the opportunity to keep myself busy. Staring too long at the stars is harmful to the temperament. Cool. This inspector has a round face, brown eyes, and short, dark hair. She gives the impression of being perpetually busy. What are the duties of an agent at the horological office? She sniffs. It is of fundamental importance that 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in one corner of the Empire occurs at the same time as 10 o'clock on the 2nd of June in the opposite corner. How is an empire to function if it can't agree what day it is? Unfortunately, the process is complicated by the fact that time is less reliable than it was. The hours trade has seen to that. And that's a pretty interesting little thing right there. People are trading actual time around. And the idea of having to keep a clock the same time in one place along a vast empire is actually a very hard one because time technically does move differently when you're moving through space. Hell, time moves differently if you're on a plane. As for news of London, the seat of the empire lies in far off Albion, where a man-made sun burns in the sky. Another sun blazed there once, before her renewed majesty conquered it. London sits in her coat of smog. Courtiers squabble at the foot of the throne of hours, hoping to receive endowment of years. Meanwhile, hard-working civil servants labor to ensure everything runs as it should. Was there a touch of archness there? All is normal. I miss her, though there's no city like London in all the skies, and Albion is very different from the Reach, much more civilized. So the Empress has replaced the sun with herself, and is able to give her courtiers, her sycophants, her cronies, longer lives. We'll discuss the Reach, the wide frontier, a sunless domain, but impossibly verdant, with gargantuan vines, cathedral-sized bronzewoods, and livid fungal archipelagos. It has an uncouth splendor, but I miss Albion and the steady light of the clockwork sun. These sunless reaches are so misty and quiet, she pauses. But critical. The territories here are rich with raw hours, and enough vegetation grows on them to feed the whole of London, even if some of it is of a dubious shape. Ask her about the hours trade. You've heard the Empress awards her favorites with gifts of years to extend their lives, and that you can become rich mining for hours to satisfy London's hunger for them. So we're literally mining time. Oh, hours have more uses than that. We use them to increase the efficiency of work worlds. Entire worlds dedicated to work, to speed journeys to distant regions, to resolve overcrowding in prisons. It does make my life more difficult when time knots and stretches like wool on the loom. More difficult, but more vital. Her Majesty seized a great trove of them when she assumed the throne of ours, and now even more have been found in the Reach. Miners dig them from the ground. She looks momentarily wistful. I hope someday to retire with a modest pension of years myself, to prolong the better part of my retirement. It's such an interesting concept to literally be taking time almost as a physical thing. What does she think about the war? The Reach is torn by discontent between London loyalists and the more independent settlers. There are those who feel London is a long way away, and that they do a better job of governing themselves. The frontier attracts independent spirits. We call them Tacketies, for the hobnail boots that are so practical out here. London, unsurprisingly, disagrees. The Windward Company earnestly represents Her Majesty's interests in the region, sometimes very earnestly indeed. The Tacketies call London loyalists stovepipes, for our hats, I suppose, because they're all wearing top hats, of course. She avoids looking at you. And you, Captain? Where do your sympathies lie? Undecided. The sea claimed my heart. What a remarkable indulgence, she remarks with a raised eyebrow. And will compliment her skills. Thank you, she says, a small, embarrassed silence. Bid her a good evening. We've got work to do. And to you, Captain, I think I shall make a cup of tea. God, where the hell is Port Prosper? Looks Looks like we found something grave. An abandoned signal box. The signal box is shrouded in gray. Close up, you can see that the box is covered in delicate webs, studded with cocoons. From the blue and white pattern of one bundle, it appears a spider has trapped a teapot. Inside, beneath the desk covered with rusted levers, is a luggage trunk. Captains in dire need can borrow from the cash inside, but custom dictates they must later replenish it. Let's rate the cash. We'll take supplies. Right in the ledger. It's tradition. We'll come back later to replenish it. That wasn't so grave. Can I move past this? Yes, okay. Awful yellow over here. The inscription on the memorial to the unknown rat is dedicated to those brave Ratus Faber who gave their lives in the early exodus to heaven. Oh, found something. Something over here. This game's just also kind of relaxing, at least in this area. In this, they're called regions. They're basically 4 maps. I need to turn my Steam alerts off. Oh, hey, another train. There will be other people around. Ah. A detritus of yet another skirmish in the Winchester War. The wreck gleams with frost. Its windows are dark, its engine silent. Perhaps something of value lies within. We pry open the doors. Your driver holds your locomotive steady alongside the wreck as your crew take turns at the pry bar. Eventually, the bay doors are sufficiently apart to permit the sprites of you to squeeze through. Soon they return. What's this they found? An aromatic casket. Something has been preserved. Ooh, 1 caddy of dried tea. Nice. You'd think we would have found Port Prosper by now. I doubt it's down this way. That way seems dangerous. asshole. Learn how to drive. Ah. So you need assaying equipment to investigate this. People can't drive in space. I don't know why. The bridge's clock chimes twice, quickly. This close to the Lambert line, time is devious. Port Prosper. We made it! Our first expedition. She disembarks with her bag in hand and peers up at a clock tower that is being raised by the station. It's tangled with scaffolding and rings with the sound of hammers and the cries of workmen. So, thank you, Captain. Here's the balance of our agreement, and as promised, a requisition order for fuels and supplies. She casts another glance at the incomplete clock tower. Given the apparent state of construction, I recommend you visit the worksite. There may be an opportunity there. And thank you for the pleasant conversation, Captain. The sky can be a lonely place. You would live in it. I've included a small additional sum in your remuneration as a token of my gratitude. So because we actually had a conversation with her and went through her story almost, she gave us something extra. Which is probably some extra gold. They plan to call it the Albert Clock in memory of the departed Prince Consort. Prince Albert. Da-da. But there's a way to go yet. The roof isn't finished, and the clock neither ticks nor bongs. You can see the fastidious inspector up among the workings with a spanner and a can of oil, showing the workmen how it's done. What does the horse foreman need? Bronzewood, the foreman wheezes bluntly. One consignment. They sell it at Trader's Wood and Polymer and Plenty's, I hear. And a god of Coyster nectar, too. This bunch of work-shy ingrates need constant shouting at, and my voice has given up the ghost. Some nectar should have me bellowing again like a champion. Carillion's your best bet. There or Titania, the flower town. We'll pay luck. So we need Chorister nectar and bronzewood. And we can get them from Titania, Carillion, or Trader's Wood and Polymer and Plenty. Recruit the incognito princess, huh? Perched atop a mountain of luggage is a radiant young woman. She's an officer dressed in what an actor would wear in a fantastical romance. A tiara rests on her brow. A steady stream of commoners comes to pay homage, bowing and curtsying enthusiastically. Starlings circle in dense swarms above her. Refugees from Old London are a common sight, although not in such numbers. She ignores everything and hands you papers so pristine they can only be forged. She's 100 gold. But she'll increase our mirrors by 6, our hearts by 2, and your affiliation to Boheme by 1. Welcome aboard, Your Majesty. I'm a humble first officer looking for, what's the word, when commoners do things for coins? Work, that's it. She beams at you, delighted as innocent as a Gatling gun. As she steps aboard, a commoner calmly takes a spoon from his pocket and scoops out his eyes. Oh, Jesus. Just pops them right out. After such radiance, all else is tawdry, he says between screams. It seems she has already forgotten about her signing on money. Oh, this dude actually dug out his eyes because he simped so hard at this lady. What a state. Hey, things happen out here, you know. I mean, there are people who simp hard enough. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to say that word anymore. Sorry, Twitch. There are people who. Oh man. There are people who. Man, that was such a good word too. All right. Yeah, it is. I'm not supposed to say it anymore. You're not supposed to say it in chat either. Its narrow street huddle in the shadows of a great crag. Banners display the stony features of her renewed majesty. Wealthy West Enders strut by, exchanging polite greetings and veiled gossip, while sooty East End workers file to the hour refining factories. Refining time. Peeling posters promise fresh, wholesome lives in the reach to new arrivals. But most of these posters are years old. Most newcomers arrive at Port Prosper. More newcomers arrive at Port Prosper than ever leave it. So, we'll write a port report. Just it's something you'd want to do every time you visit a port. And we'll attend a parade. Apparently, it's the Feast of the Red Saint. Gaudy banners fly over the painted rooftops of Port Prosper. The smog of the East End is hidden away by giant posters displaying dragons in varying degrees of vivisection. The cramped streets are clogged with people. Wealthy West Enders promenade about the amusements, while impoverished East Enders work the stalls and huddle by chestnut fires for warmth. A painted dragon pursued by knights is chased through the crowds to a chorus of "Ho! The riding!" Where do I fit in? I'm a simple man. Oi! A wide-eyed East Ender elbows his comrade somewhere under his jacket. What's all this then? Who's all this then? A crowd gathers from out of the shadows. You're subjected to a number of looks that, if not quite filthy, are at least grubby. Eventually, the huddle disperses. The first East Ender extends a thin hand, lined and worn. It's a good sign you want to talk to us. You spend an afternoon watching vaudeville plays, satirize the Red Saint and his dragon in an all-out. Thank you. See you later. You spend the afternoon watching vaudeville plays, satirize the Red Saint and his dragon in an out-of-the-way tent, followed by a hearty supper of roast chestnut and almost palatable ale down by the station. Sparklers wheel in the sky, levers race across the span, the scent of butterscotch and candy floss is on the wind. Candy floss being cotton candy. Ah, hey, Garrulous, Captain is delighted to have an access to talk. I'm happy to help, officer. Happy to help. They point down the docks. There you are. Keep going past the port. You can't miss it. If you have good eyes, you might even be able to see it from here. Passage ain't free, mind. You can travel first class if you have a ministry stamped permit, or you can bring a couple of barrels of ours to travel second class. Interesting. think, actually, is there any... Actually, I don't need any supplies, I remember now. Let's go. We did everything we came to do here. Let's continue exploring. Let's see. I guess we'll start heading down this direction. Kind of skirt the outsides. See what we can find. And we can level up. What did the winds of fate hold in store? Smoggy streets, a scandal, a spell in prison, a lost love, or an interlude in red and gold. Love, the gradual erosion of that which separates you from someone else. The fitting together of two lives as intricately and intimately as the threads in a tapestry or the cells in your skin. And when one of those lives ends, what remains of the other? You loved, you lost. How badly does it hurt now? Like a gnawing ache, a hole in the heart, or like a fresh wound, as red now as it was then. Sometimes the grief is raw, ravaging, a wolf howl on a midwinter's night. Other times, it sullenly slinks, waiting for a reason, any reason, to lift its head and howl again. I think we're gonna take that one. A distant shriek through the tangled undergrowth. What haunts this far-flung path? Found something. Something to crave. I believe that's the Albion transport thing, so we won't need it yet. Thrashing by the window, bright head. Heart in her eels. Ah! So, we could grab these eels here to butcher. Ooh, a new wreck. The Nanolinsky Dancer. 32% chance of success, huh? Hey! Hey. Your boarding party follows you, gingerly through the rent on the wreck side. The steel bones, the engine's grown miserably. You'll need to hurry. Lifting your lamp, you lead your party towards the galley to scavenge supplies, the magazine to retrieve munitions, the captain's quarters to grab weird shit, the crew's quarters for money, or the engine room for fuel. Let's grab weird shit. One otherworldly artifact. Thanks, loser. Oh, another abandoned signal box. We said we should resupply the cache. It's tradition. Let's read the ledger. The handwriting is poor, but legible. Captain Lau deposits supplies. Superstitious after a run of bad luck. There's a column for miscellaneous notes. The captain describes it a field of debris they flew through to reach the signal box. Each rock was bursting with life. Tiny flowers the color of milk jostled in the currents of the engine. The locomotive was overwhelmed with the scent of honey and home. Two sky stories. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Did it really fly away? Did we scare it? Oh, shit! Let's see if we can... Oh. Damn it. We got the thing, but someone ended up dying. God, what a pretty game. It is just very beautiful just to see this. Because all this is hand-drawn. That's what the studio specializes in who makes these games. It's just very well done hand-drawn art. There's something that way. I don't know, it doesn't sound very cool over here. Oh no, it's not very cool over here. Ah, damn it. The well is black as ink from the devil's pot. Turn back, Captain, a crewman pleads. Oh, but there's shit over here, guys. Shit. Oh my god. Got him. Scavenge for parts. Repair the ship. The wasn't expecting that. Mourn the dead. It's proper. Old Tom's Well, huh? below the below beneath the scuttling clouds, a speckless structure cling to a shelf of ice. The well wind guy, the well winds drag at your engine like frantic clutch of a drowning man. The well gapes. 48% chance of success. And we did it, baby! Down through the tearing mists, through the whipped particulates that thunder on your hull, through the shrieking winds which fall abruptly still, a ledge of black ice has accreted over centuries at the wall's edge, with a raised lip that affords a sliver of shelter. A handful of beehive huts huddle around a crude church. They are built from roughly chopped blocks of the same black ice that forms the shelf around the well. Old Tom was a prospector during the promised days that followed London's rival in the heavens. For years, he combed the reach looking for the strike that would make him rich. He didn't find it. Luckless and impoverished, he made a wish here, at the well. The next months, he discovered the mother of mountains in the rich hour veins that riddled her flanks. For a year, before his disappearance, he was staggeringly wealthy. Others came here now, the desperate and the broken, with their final futile wishes. Enter the kirk. The ice crunches underfoot, caking your boots with a pitchy crust. There is no door on the church. Inside, pews are carved from the ice. A ragged handful of supplicants sit them, bitten by the bone bleak cold. On the altar, a single precious candle burns. A lank minister reads from a dog-eared scrap of paper. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against me. They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They compassed me, but also with the words of hatred, and fought against me without a cause. Her cheekbones are as sharp as flint axe heads. Her skin is pocked by the cold. Her gaze is judgmental. Once her dress was elaborate and fair. Now the hems are frayed. Much of the lace is stiffened with frost and snapped off. Her hair is tied in a greasy bun. Well? Give me one sec, guys. Guy, person, anyone who's ever listening. I'm gonna go restroom real quick. about that for anyone who's watching. The ignorant call us the cursing church, but we are the compassed who dwell in the brinks. We are the lambs who were torn by the wolf. We are the undone. The angel of the pit hears us, where it would not hear others. What is that pitiful scrap of paper? Looks like a bill or a promissory note that's passed through too many hands and should have been cashed long ago. The cursing psalm. Our congregation raised their hands. Each has their own leaf of paper, a single page torn from the Bible. The only page that matters. The Judas Psalm. It contains the only lesson that we need to hear. The promise that those who wronged us can be made to suffer. Oh, thank you for the follow. That just scared the shit out of me. What was that? Nudis? Thank you for the follow, Nudis. Notice, maybe? The sky churns. The sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. The sky churns as you make your way to the pitiful domes. Most are empty, awaiting a well-wisher. But the third one is not. It contains a corpse, as stiff as an icicle. Some supplicant who died before their wish was granted. We move on. In the fifth dwelling, you find a sallow petitioner, her eyes feverish. I saw gold in the well, she croaks, unprompted, glistening in the depths. Glistening in the deeps. Well, what a fucked up place. Oh, Jesus. Well, boys, we almost didn't make it out. We almost got sucked right in. The sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun. Let's see. See, I played a bit of Sunless Sea. It never really grabbed me. And I've played a bit of Fallen London, the browser game. I like it. I really like the writing. I don't think it makes zero sense. I think you can get a lot of stuff from just context. But I have played this game more than a bit. See, I chose wealth. Ah. So I can get the lore too. Merciful. I'm assuming you know a bit more about Fallen London lore than I probably would. How much you want to bet this is nothing, and this is just like another Star Madden scavenger? Oh no, this is supplies. Nice. We're actually getting kind of low. I mean, we're not too far away from... Oh, never mind. We are quite a bit away from New Winchester. Let's actually start kind of making our way towards New Winchester. And not die on the way there. Well, of course. Trying to get sucked in by old Tom's well again. Yeah, I know it'll expect like me to know like some stuff. I do know some stuff about like London on the Untersee and how it's carried down there by bats and stuff. About the Empress and her ability to prolong life because she removed the sun and stuff. God damn it. Ah, see, now that's something I don't want to deal with right now. Looks like we'll have to find a new path back to New Winchester. Yeah. I know that part. And the Empress basically took the god that was near Earth and replaced it with herself. I'll be on Earth. Which sun did she replace then? Because I know she replaced one of them. Oh, fucking bees. Oh, this is a lot of bees. Ah, yeah. Just so happen to be lurking about. God. The idea of just killing a sun and replacing it with basically a construct of your own making. First you conquer nature, then you preserve it. A trifle of the arrogant, no? L&S Loading Bay. Leadbeater and Stainrod is an elderly London company. The custodians of the Empire's first supernal nature reserve. To find work with them, head for Capabilities Cabins. If you'd rather enjoy the reserve, seek the gateway of Albert's Idol. I love a lot of the concepts of this game. The idea that the Empress took the place of a son. Under her direct control unwillingly. Interesting. Yeah. The idea of taking, like, a physical amalgamation of time, refining it, and using it as trade currency. Let's grab some fuel. And see. Yeah, that should be good. A sack of fruit seeds, huh? Yeah, and she can give time to her sycophants to extend their lives. I'm pretty sure it's in the next area, and I don't know how long I particularly plan to stay in this area. I like the Reach. The Leadbeater and Stainrod Nature Reserve is an immense, untrodden hinterland that reaches unreasonably fecund flora and fauna. It is popular with London's more outdoorsy tourists. The park is filled with birds and flowers, trees and woodland creatures, streams and bumbling insects, and other insidious dangers. Tour guides are essential in this place. Park guests are forbidden from entering the deeper sections of the reserve alone. Going into the Reach after surviving Eleutheria? I feel like a sun. I'm going to assume that's a particularly dangerous area. Is that the one where you have to keep your lights off to not wake those horror monsters? Or is it... That's not the Blue Kingdom, is it? The only person available to help you is a romantic ornithologist. He is lean and plainly dressed, with a long, wiry beard. The other researchers introduce you. Do you know our colleague here? One indicates the ornithologist. Is looking for the mythical bird whose beak pecks away at the mountain for... You should play this game. Pecks away at the mountain of eternity. They stifle giggles. The ornithologist maintains a smile and gestures towards the forest path. I'll be glad to show you the reserve. I hope you'll join me later, and you can often find me at the watchtower. Yeah, go ahead. You're not hurting me any by turning off the stream. Let's go on a tour. The romantic ornithologist claps his hand with quiet delight when he sees you. I find a most wonderful place, shall we? You delve into the reserve together. The birds sing around you. The flowers offer sweet perfumes. A pleasing breeze tumbles through a glade and whistles around a mountain bend. Gain 2 sky stories. Let's go visit him. Welcome, T. Let's ask about the bird he's supposed to be researching. There are other birds I could study, of course, he says, shrugging. But that's not the point. We had thought this bird a myth, the bird who wears away at the mother of mountains, pebble by pebble. But miners have seen it. The heavens are home to improbable things. Alright. Clump of cabins used by Leadbear and Stainrod's researchers as they plumb and catalog the secrets of the reserve. Enterprising captains may find work for the company here. The researchers of the reserve have a number of laboratories scattered among the tourist cabins. From here, they study the mysteries of the Reach. Read the request to all park-goers. We want to study powerful forces of nature at work in the Reach, so that we may improve the life of all citizens of the Empire. If you're an intrepid sort and willing to aid our earnest efforts, we are offering a reward for the following. I see your interest, the phlegmatic researcher has wheeled up behind you. His left leg is raised, perhaps to reduce the very obvious swelling. The keys to understanding the remarkable principles of growth and cultivation are waiting here. We just need suitable specimens. If you're in our research, I ensure you're properly oh my god. Romantic in the platonic. Yeah. I figured it was a platonic since I doubt he's very much truly in love with my character that I've just made. They're entranced. The researchers are there, blah blah blah, scatter blah. See. What can I bring to aid him? Wings of a Quaster Bee, ants, and Hybris Pus. I will keep those in mind. Alright. Can I not make a... There we go. Port. Blah, blah, blah. Great expense by the company. Scores of researchers come here to study the nature of the reach. Many visitors come here too for a pleasant holiday. Let's see what the other captains have to say. For a few, it's the work provided by Leadbeater and Stainrod. For the rest, the reason is the same. They're drawn by the beauty of the reserve. Some are here with tourists from across the Empire. Others are here to give their crews a respite. Others were simply passing by and couldn't resist stopping in. It's been a while since I've been to, like, a national park. I should really go again. I should go camping, is what I should do. But I'll have to grab a tent and everything first. And camping equipment's too expensive for what it is, man. A lush verdance encloses you, green as emeralds. I didn't keep moving. There we go. Easy. To the victor, the spoils. The crew of the Marauder lies dead in the corridor, killed not by your guns, but knives and small arms fire. The only survivor is the captain, locked in the brig with a bottle of brandy. Chalk eyes stare back from every wall. When he ran out of chalk, he began scraping them with his fingernails. Little remains of them but bloodied stumps. Seen this before, Captain? Says a crew member, grasping your arm. Sky madness. Magdalenes can treat it, if you can be bothered to take the poor sod. The high wilderness is cruel. This could easily be you one day. The crew wraps the Skyman captain in blankets and then secure them tightly with belts. It takes 4 to transport him safely to your locomotive. He may not be happy restrained, but it should keep him from harm until you can get him to Magdalene's. Magdalene's lies to the west of New Winchester. The captain's secured. You have a moment to see whether there's anything of worth in his locomotive before abandoning it to the wilderness. We also have a tale of terror now. We don't need the repairs right now. A solid crate. Heavy as a dead man's weight. A bottle of unseasoned... one barrel of unseasoned hours, huh? Nice. Takes a wrench and your strongest stoker to lever off the lid. When at last the crate opens with a heavy thud, your crew gasp. And inside, the lustrous, saltine crystals of ground hours, mined and refined for commercial use. This is the final product of London's greatest and most precious enterprise. God, I love all the concepts of the Fallen London universe. Oh. Skyfarers, exposed to the haunting light of the stars, are prone to sudden obsessions and erratic behavior. A junior signaler is discovered in the hold amidst a pile of dissected books. She is cutting out words and grouping them into clusters to represent a new system of linguistic categorization. Narrative is preposterous and occlusive, she informs you. Meaning is the only suitable, sensible foundation for classification. This can be used someday. Too soon. Hey, we all go mad eventually. It's just how long it takes. Meaning is the only sensible foundation for classification. You examine her arrangements. The words light and law sit side by side. Nearby, conjunction, philosophy, and faction huddle together. Ration of brandy to the crew, huh? One full supply for just this one crazy person. Ugh. 5 tear and 2 hull. You harry them back to work with a carefully stewed mixture of encouragement and chastisement, but their obsessions only continue to consume them. They make mistakes, some of which are dangerous, and their persistent oddness unsettles the crew. It's alright, we're going back to port soon-ish anyways, once I can figure out the path there. Correspondence and burn the damn place down. Hey, what's she gonna correspond with out? There's nothing out here. She's gonna correspond with the stars? They don't listen to us. Is this really a dead end? Aw, please don't tell me I gotta turn all the way back around. Actually, no, it looks like it's gonna dump me back in your old Tom's Well again. Oh, looks like we're turning around, boys. The correspondence is just a language you can write in a notebook. Huh. I'm sure it's fine. The animatronics get a little wacky at night, you know? God, the day I actually set myself down and actually play Five Nights at Freddy's is the day I might actually die. I don't do good with horror games. Like, horror movies, all day, every day, easy. But I think it's the degree of separation that I have with horror movies since I've been watching them for so long. Horror games, I'm too there. Ah, see, I'd trade you in a heartbeat. Macklin's Thrift. I really need to turn off my Steam notifications. I just don't feel scared, I just get frustrated when I lose. See, that's the opposite of me. I can't, like... Something about, like... being, like... Especially first-person horror games. I psych myself out too much. Like, Five Nights at Freddy's, I genuinely tried to play it, and I had to stop, because I ended up scaring myself too much. A cryptic stoker wants to hold a memorial service for the crew that have recently died in your service. Judging by his tattoos, a storm studded with mouths, and his rattling collection of talismans, the ceremony is unlikely to be Christian. Not a priest, sadly. 50% chance, why not? Fuck. The cryptic stoker appears before the gathered mourners with his face painted storm gray and his amulets rattling like distant thunder. He speaks of a storm that remembers, his voice reeling between a croaking approximation of an old woman's, a shrill mockery of a child's, a drawling attempt at a high society patriarch. The crew seem unconvinced by the outlandish ceremony. Perhaps they long for the sober, plodding Sunday services of their youth. I'm in that spot to get you used to imaginations. We'll see. I'm a night person naturally, and my job has me work night shift, so it's not like I'm scared of the dark or anything. I just imagination runs wild. I draw it up to having read like a ton when I was younger. The clamor of New Winchester can be heard on the wind, familiar as a disagreeable uncle. We're back, boys. We made it. We didn't die. A couple of us went crazy, but that's fine. It happens. We can... a couple pints of rum and they'll be fucking fine. Ooh. What did we get? Creative nostalgic crockery. It is, but that's kind of like any open-ended roguelite. I think it's a good introduction to the world, though, too. I'm on fully decked out Moloch. So you're pretty good into the game. What's an engine that breaks reality for speed? Hey, I mean, if light speed is too slow, we just extend the... What is the Futurama joke? That they raise the speed limit for light speed? Ah, Mr. Menagerie is passing through Winchester. Repair the locomotive, though. 45 sovereigns. Smoggy, clinking, singing, stamping, thronging frantic hard of the reach. An ever-expanding port of soot-smudged glass and bright steel, spilling across a drifting, mist-wrapped archipelago. Its factories thunder, its engine sheds ring with hammers and hiss with steam. Locomotives chug into sidings for repair, or flare across the sky and away into the high wilderness. Learn about trading. Successful skyfarers fund their expeditions by dabbling in trade. Inquire whether there are any good trading opportunities available. A porter at this station advises you to visit the nearby pub. The promise of days and talk to the seasoned captains there. They keep their ears to the ground, they'll know of an opportunity or two. The Smoggy... Alright. A club where seasoned captains gather trade stories and share advice with young skyfarers. Old pistons gleam on the walls. The shelves are crowded with mementos from across the sky. The clientele raise their voices to be heard above the comforting clamor of the adjacent engine yards. You may find helpful advice here. Introduce myself. Four are gathered at their usual table. The masked citizen, a libertine polymath, and pioneer of the nocturnal artistic school, the bedeviled didact, ugh, a scholar haunted by his discoveries, the plucky baroness, explorer, collector, philatelist, and the spatchcocker Meg, who hunts monsters. Of course, everything out here is jolly dangerous, says the baroness. Few risk the skies, so news of distant ports is valuable. Collect port reports from the places you visit and deliver them to Victory Hall or Company House. The more you turn in at once, the more they'll pay. Look for other opportunities on the way, advises a mass citizen. Passengers who want transport, rich men in need of bloody work, etc. You see, this wasn't actually going to be my first game to stream. I was thinking about something else, but I like the calm tone at the beginning of Sunless Skies to start out with. It feels like a much better game to kind of just put on and be able to talk that I'm not having to like perform on. Because I was thinking about like streaming Dota, but I'd have to perform on Dota, and I'm not good at Dota, so ask them how to make your fortune through trade. Between them, they've carried Navartine, gemstones from Eleutheria, souls to the Blue Kingdom, and raw hours to London. Have they tips? Ah, the didact says, fiddling with his innumerable talismans, an essential topic. Meg slides you a stool, and the captains shuffle around to make room. The mad citizen buys you a drink of their own invention. It is violet and foggy. The plucky baroness gives you a brisk, encouraging grin. Ask away. You can actually get like a violet pea tea, and if you want to make booze with it to turn it like purple, it works really well because it is reactive with acids. So you can use like the acid that's in like limes, and it'll actually enhance the color. You could also do it with blue curacao, I guess, if you wanted to be lame. Where might you learn these opportunities? The mass citizen sips their drink. The biggest port in each region has a bazaar where captains do business. There you'll learn of people at other ports prepared to pay you over the odds for a commodity. When you accept the commission for a prospect, it's yours. No other captain will pursue it. It's all fantastically civilized. Their smile is droll. You'll have to source the goods yourself, of course, says the bedeviled didact. Find a port that exports them. The client will want a certain amount. You can supply some of it or all of it, but if you provide all they need, they may furnish you with an additional reward. We actually do have someone we're supposed to be taking. Where are you? Skyman Captain. Magdalene's. It is east of New Winchester. So what I think I'm gonna do is see what this guy wants. Go deliver my port reports, and then head to Magdalene's. I'm fairly certain I know where it is. I represent Halliges, the banking house. I promise. Oh, hold on. We just got a fucking loser subscribed. Get out of here. That's my friend, sorry. Also scared the shit out of me. That is really loud. I need to turn that down. I promise this will only take a moment of your unquestionably valuable time. He produces a folded contract with a flourish. We hear promising things about you, officer. Very promising indeed. We would like to extend our services. We provide a secure solution for the storage of your assets, absolute discretion, and steadfastness unto death and beyond. We require only a signature. Hey, that's a pretty good follower thing. Shut up. I'm certain that this represents the beginning of a long and warm relationship between ourselves and your lineage. May it endure. I bid you good day, officer. It's just our bank to trade items between characters if we end up dying. Actually, I'm going to buy Bye. Ooh, we don't have enough gold. I'll have to go send these port reports off first. So I'm thinking about backing the rebels. Because, I mean, the Empire kind of did kill a son and replace it with the Empress. I don't know how much I agree with that. Raised in the wake of blockade of New Winchester, this magnificence of glass and steel houses the Colonial Assembly. Here, representatives of the independent ports of the Reach gather and quarrel. Deliver your port reports to the indurate veteran. Her tireless exertions during the blockade earned her both a seat on the Assembly and enemies in London. She likes to keep abreast of events. Pog, 300 gold. She listens with a scowl. Well, I'd rather know than not, I suppose. And thank you for bringing this to me, rather than the. I'm gonna assume that's supposed to be body, stovepipes, or ranger gratuity. Trade favor for an otherworldly artifact, huh? It's customary for representatives to bring gifts from their territories, examples of local craftsmanship, mysterious finds, untangled from the knotty roots of the Reach. The peculiarities are added to the overflowing cabinets in the Ward Griffiths archive. Archives a jumbled, semi-sorted, barely cataloged. The curator, an indifferent man plagued by a phlegmy cough, is happy to loan you an exhibit. He doesn't check it out. There's no talk of returning it. If anything, he's happy to see it gone. Ah, interesting. I don't plan to join the war exactly. I just need the money from reports. Let's go back, buy our supplies, and try to deliver this man to... Where is he going? Magdalene's. Grab some market stuff. Grab. Yeah, I don't have enough cargo space, will I? Let's see. 1 fuel to 4, 2 supplies to 4. And then... I don't know if any of this stuff is worth selling. Probably this crate of nostalgic crockery. Because I believe there is a storyline I can do with this caddy of dried tea. I'm going to keep the unseasoned hours. Oh, this is what they're buying, huh? Just to get at least one space in my inventory, and we'll set off towards Magdalene's. Ow. Press the wrong button. Ooh, there's some wreckage over that way. is such a pretty game. The way they do the layering of the art is like amazing because it really gives you like a sense of depth. Fuck. Ah, fuck, I missed. Won't miss that one. The crew of this weathered engine has been driven mad by the winds and the stars, and the things that haunt the sky. We don't really need to repair that right now. We're heading somewhere. Fuck. The smell of turpentine hangs in the air. Fresh paint drips from the ceiling, as does a stoker suspended with ropes. The bed sheets have been painted with amateurish portraits of the dead stoker. In the first few, he is alive. In the later ones, he is not. We got a Tale of Terror. That's not that bad. I mean, that kind of boosts our terror by a lot, but it's fine. It's fine. Alright. I believe this is the entrance to where Magdalene's is. Sky closes its cold jaws about you. Water freezes in the pipes. Engineers scurry to and fro with boiling kettles. God, look at all this. This stonework that's just been abandoned. Sigil stamped ruins. Litter the sky. Oh, fuck! These things scare the piss out of me every time. Because they make that horrible, horrible noise. Oh, I dodged right into that one. Ew. This is getting kind of dicey, boys. It'd be kind of sad to lose my first captain like this. Fuck. Oh, I knocked him off course. Shit. Got him. Scare the fuck every time, man. A scribe spinster. The splintered remains of the spinster turned slowly. The skies are full of fluttering paper, as if someone brought confetti to a funeral. 93% chance of success. The scribe spinsters were wrought from bronzewood, now popular with London train wrights and cabinet makers. The axes rise and the axes fall. A lambent mist complicates the endeavor. But eventually, your expedition returns with a handful of bronzewood planks. Perfect! I really hope I'm going the right way. Oh man, something is terrifying over here. Let's check this. Yeah, that's a horror over there. Let's go the opposite direction of whatever is over there. Something down there is bad. We'll go check it out once we have less terror. The hour of the wolf. It is late. You are alone. Doubts prey on you. Is this the path you should have taken? You trespass upon the precincts of heaven. What price will be exacted of you? What price have you already paid? I don't have a savage secret. It will pass. And it won't. Man, we're getting a lot of tales of terror. This shit's wacky. The skies aren't good. The skies are not cool, man. Oh, not one of these. Oh, fuck. Give me that. Just click. Get rid of some terror. Kind of blow the remains of the creature away. New facet available, huh? Or escape. Okay. We passed it. We went the wrong direction. We should have went this way. But we found something that glisters. God damn it. Got him. Partial success. 11 sovereigns for 2 terror, huh? It's pretty competitive exchange rate, if you ask me, so far. So I'm pretty sure we would need mining to get whatever glisters over here. Yep. So. Ooh, it doesn't look like there's a turnaround here. I may have to go back through the desolation of Saliva and risk something absolutely awful happening because my terror is so high. Because we went the wrong direction. And if I see another ghost, I might be dead. We're just passing through. See, I'm pretty sure right here it just banks into a wall. And I'm pretty sure this direction will lead us up through here. Because I've been this direction before. I played this game a bit. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't go back around this way. Yeah. I think that's where we need to bring this guy anyways. Magdalene's? Is that not in Carillion? I mean, if it's not, I still need to lower the terror a bit and repair the hull. That one ghost gave us kind of a beating. See, this dude needs to be that way. But I understand why he's not. This close to the mother of mountains, the sky grows cold. Your crew dons coats and gloves. Schwartz's oath. Or shit, Magdalene's might be in Titania. Ah, we're gonna head to Titania anyways. Yeah, okay, we're heading there. Mounting terror, the driver's hands tremble on the wheel. I thought I'd left fear behind, they said. Apparently not. Her penitent devil sneers. They are incompetent. They could never master my techniques. And we're here. We made it. We didn't die. We got close. We got pretty fucking close to dying. But we made it. Perfect. Broken into terraces where most of the soul treatments take place. Some are easier to access than others. Let's try to explore around. Before you can take the first step towards one of the terraces, a devil blocks you away. Not yet, I'm afraid. You must have permission from the presiding deviless. Some of our procedures are exceedingly delicate. You will need to be certain you comprehend what you're seeing. He turns you in the direction of the center of Karillon. I'm sure she'll make time to see you. Grey stone, the color of a monastery, attending devils and devilesses, dressed in uniform, and an incoming parade of the sick, the friendless, the dying, and those who think their lives would be better if only there was something else. This is Karillon, where souls are refined into something more impressive. She does an artisan of souls. Perhaps she can do something with yours. Perhaps she'll just offer you advice. The presiding deviless works in an office shaped like a beehive, a stone and wickerwork building that stands all alone in the middle of Karillon's central courtyard. She conducts intake interviews with new patients, one by one. After a long time in line, you reach her at last. Greetings, officer. How may we stretch, strain, purify, and strengthen you now that you've come to Karillon? Such a gaming room. Can you help advise new horrors for the minds of the unworthy, huh? Penance ordeal. Penance escapable truth. Penance indulgence. Penance excess. Penance enlightenment. Endurance. Deprivation. Shift of perspective. We do whatever is necessary to reclaim unsatisfactory souls, she says. She sits back in her chair, and you can imagine her making just such a pitch to the princes of hell. Go focus on playing my son this guy's BRB. Oh, you're all good, man. Thanks for joining. For humans, primarily, though we do attend to a few other creatures elsewhere on the Great Chain, they come to us with souls that are stained, disused, in every kind of sordid condition, and we make them acceptable again. Most of those who come to us are volunteers. The rest are beyond the position of being able to volunteer, consigned to Karillon by their families or employers. Her apron is starched, her dress pinstriped. There's a stack of patient files on her desk, color-coded. The corners of her mouth say she knows something to your disadvantage. Most people go home again, she says. Some find that they are weary of their souls and pass them on to us. We operate on that slender profit and what we can get from donations or from sales of penance and forgiveness. She looks at the blank page before her. But what about you? You look sturdy enough to make full use of our services. Are you afraid of needles? What is your view of worms? Which do you fear more, venoms or poisons? She takes down a page or two, all on your least favorite things. Listen to a proposal and gain access to the terraces of Karillon. She is prepared to offer you a deal. Listen, she says. You're free to make use of Karillon, take a penance or two, alter your soul. I think you'll find our services very imaginative. There's another matter I hope you will look into. A devil in rose-colored gloves. He used to supervise the gaslight terrace. He was removed from that position, but I fear he may still not be entirely aligned with the objectives of Krillin. If you find anything out about him, anything to his disadvantage, she looks grim. Bring me the evidence. I will reward you. Come back if you have any other questions, says Devilis. She has already opened the next file on her desk. Write a port report. You take some notes on a pilgrim's journey through Krillin. The first port of call is the beehive-shaped office in the center, or more accurately, the long queue leading to it. From there, the infernal attendants direct them to one of Krillin's 7 gardens to undergo penances. They certainly look penitent by the time they emerge. Presumably, their souls are much improved. Not that you can tell. Visit the Gaslight Terrace. Your companions are a lady in a buttoned coat and a young male student. They talk amongst themselves about the seasonal warmth, and about how the yellowish glow of the lamps does not show blue silk to the best effect. The words are commonplace, their hands folded and gloved, their opinions supplied by a respectable gazette. You have almost forgotten them even while you are still walking together. Their paths descend by shallow steps to a broad terrace, as crowded as an imperial exhibition. Fuck. Gaslight lamp posts are scattered irregularly across. Huh. Spineless curate. The near station, a curate has been shackled to an ordinary pillory. His eyes beseech you to visit him. I've seen something in this light. It's not hard to see things. A devilish orderly jabs at the curate with a needle. At the side of the jab, the curate's skin goes lavender. I'm being treated for not believing in God. I've tried everything. Prayer, fasting, long weekends with a professional saint. None of it worked. My sermons were suffering. My bishop complained. And has it helped? I have dreams of snakes and angels, he says. It hasn't made me a mystic. I don't think the devils are real either. Just men with funny eyes, aren't they? The devilish orderly smiles with extra teeth. So a man is almost being tortured for not believing in God. They don't sell fuel here. Buy some of this. They don't buy anything either. Should have blue painted crockery, huh? Recent death of a well-to-do widower has triggered an unseemly family squabble over the disposition of estate. An indifferent solicitor has been charged with auctioning off various of the deceased's unwanted belongings in order to cover up the death duty. Huh. You lock this with affiliation establishment. You have one and all. Looks like this wasn't the place. And we are going to have to return to New Winchester to grab fuel again. But for right now, I think I'm going to end the stream there. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who followed, except for that Eagle Daggers guy. I'll be streaming again soon, probably tomorrow. But for right now, I need to go start getting ready for work. Alright, have a good day, guys.